to order. Mr. Board, could you give us our
teleconference pursuant to Kentucky Revised Statute Section 61.826. If you are speaking and not appearing by video, the connection cannot be reestablished within 30 minutes.
please?
Yes, sir. Mr. Powell? Mr. Lang?
Here.
And Mr. Summers?
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 5, approval of minutes. For 5th. Approve as written.
So moved.
Have a first from Mr. O'Mara.
Second. Second.
Second, Mr. Summers. Any discussion? On the agenda is the KPPA Audit Committee report and recommendations. Ms. Coffey.
Good morning, everyone. The KPPA Audit Committee met on February 25th, and you're seeing a summary of what was discussed. I'm going to start with item number 2. Those are just the standard items that we go over at every meeting. Direct your attention to item number 1. We have a few items that need ratification from the KPPA board. 1B goes over the audits that were issued. There were 3 audits since the last meeting: a review of investment admin fees, a review of the policy specific to the Office of Investments, and a review of the ProCard process. The audit committee accepted all of those audit reports, including management's response and suggested corrective action. And the only note that they had is they wanted us to follow up at the next meeting with staff providing an update on the corrective action for the policies related to the Office of Investments. And we are asking that the KPPA board ratify that acceptance of those 3 reports.
Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Powell, you're muted.
Guess that's why you can't hear me. Have a first and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
And the bigger part of the audit committee meeting was the discussion of the GASB 68 and 75 reports. And for that, I'm going to turn that over to Mike Lamb.
Thanks, Kristen. We have with us today our representative from Blue & Company, who are our external auditors. They have completed the audit of the GASB 68 and 75 proportional share audit reports. Currently, those drafts are on our website, as well as Excel spreadsheets to make it easier for the employers and the employers' auditors to utilize. And the audit committee reviewed those reports and ratified them. And today I'm going to have Jordan Miller discuss them just a little bit, and then we will seek a motion for approval after that. Jordan?
Thanks, Mike. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for letting us be here today. As Mike mentioned, yes, that page, the reports start on page 13 of 265 in the packet that was sent out. They look very similar to last year. We have issued an unmodified or clean opinion on both the 68 and 75 reports, and there were no changes to the allocation methods from the prior year. Kind of short and sweet, so I don't know if anyone has any questions on any of these. Like Mike's, I will point out that some of the Excel tables in the report are very small and hard to read, and so that is why we have asked to have those on the website so that the employers can read them more clearly. And yeah, if there's any questions.
I just have one
Ms.
comment,
Hampton.
and that's to Jordan, to Blue and Company, and to Mike Lamb. I know in some previous years, we had some issues and that we had people wanting these reports faster than we got them. I think you've done a really good job of getting these reports to the people that need them in a timely fashion.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Agreed. Any other comments on that? All right. I'll entertain a motion that we approve the GASB 6875 proportional share audits for fiscal year ending June 30, 25, and to authorize the KPPA staff to publish the audits on the KPPA website.
So
Mr.
moved.
Powell, it's June 30, 2024.
20.
Correct that.
All right.
Mike, does this, I mean, I know the KERS is pretty similar, so should this be for both of them, or we're going to have a separate motion?
Reports, there's a CERS one and a KRS one in the packet. So this is for all reports.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks.
All right. Any other questions, comments, questions? All right. Had a first and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Kristen or Mike, excuse me, Ms. Coffey or Mr. Lamb, anything else you'd like to add?
I don't have anything else to add.
All right.
Me neither.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Moving on to the next item is the KPPA Ad Hoc Regulations Committee's reports and recommendations. Mr. Goodrich.
Yes, the committee met on March 6th and approved 2 regulations and forwarded those on for your consideration today. One was 105 KAR 1200, which is an amended regulation on retirement procedures, and the other was 105 KAR 1202, which is a new regulation. The 1202 is a housekeeping regulation that puts the Form 6000 notification of retirement form in its own regulation. This will help us keep our regulations up to date because this will allow us to keep the Form 6000 updated in one regulation and allow us to cross-reference this regulation with other regulations and clean up our regulation process. The regulation 1200, the retirement procedures regulation, had not been updated since 2021, and so that reflects the changes to the governance and the creation of KPPA in 2021, as well as statutory changes that have taken effect since then, including the post-retirement designation of the beneficiary and those statutory changes. And those kind of codify KPPA's existing practices of how we interpret that statute.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have any questions for Mr. Goodrich? All right. I'll entertain a motion to approve the regulation 105 KR 1200 and 105 KR 1202 as presented.
Also move.
And have a first
Second.
and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Anything else you wish to add, Mr. Goodrich?
No, sir. Thank you much.
No. All right, thank you all. Next on the agenda is the Mr. Lamb with the administrative budget to actual.
Thank you. That begins on page 232. This is the summary that we've put together now of the large line items. The comments are in that summary right below that. I do want to just kind of read the first part that says we spent $17.5 million through quarter two, and that's 48.47% of the entire budget, leaving 51.53% for the remaining 2 quarters in the fiscal year. This is 3.53% higher than last year's quarter two. The other comments are in there for you to read. I do want to point out that the legal contracts through quarter two are on target. However, there's been some significant legal expenses incurred related to some of the ongoing litigation and settlement discussions that have been going on. So some of the legal contracts have been close to exceeding their line item, and some of them have been adjusted through the proper channels, and so that line item may be getting close to its capacity at the end of the third quarter, and if so, we will bring that line item back to the board for further discussion and maybe an increase if necessary. Besides that, I think all other line items in summary level, and if you look at the pages below this summary, the detailed line items are all on target to be within budget for the fiscal year. But I'd be happy to entertain any discussion you have or any questions on any of the line items below.
Any questions for Mr. Lamb? All right, sir. Thank you. I guess you just cleared that up for everybody. All right. Next other item is the investment department update. Mr. Willer.
Hi, good morning. The Kentucky Retirement Systems Investment Committee held a regularly scheduled meeting on February 19th, and the County Employees Retirement System Investment Committee held a regularly scheduled meeting on February 26th. A lot of actions were taken that were sent to the board for ratification. Both committees unanimously approved staff's recommendation to invest up to 6.25% of the total global public equity allocation in the JP Morgan U.S. Large Cap Core Equity Strategy, and up to 6.25% of the total global public equity allocation in the T. Rowe Price U.S. Structured Research Equity Strategy, both subject to successful contract negotiations. These investments obviously would be part of the global public equity asset allocation and would be allocated across all pension and insurance portfolios. We identified that primary funding would come from the retirement of the internal factor-based U.S. large cap portfolio, with additional funding from the internal S&P 500 portfolios. The CRS Investment Committee also unanimously approved staff's recommendation to invest up to $70 million in the Arctos American Football Fund, subject to successful contract negotiations, and unanimously approved staff's recommendation to invest up to an additional $70 million in the Maritime Partners American Rivers Funds. These two investments would be part of the real return allocation, with funding coming from cash and rebalancing of existing overweight allocations. Additionally, both committees also unanimously approved staff's recommendation to adopt the MSCI All Country World Investable Market Index, referred to as the MSCI ACWI IMI, as the IPS performance benchmark for the global public equity asset class, replacing the MSCI All Country World Index Net US Dollar. We also discussed, had a good discussion about the economic conditions, market conditions, and performance. Thank you, Sherry. That's perfect. The pension composite produced a return of minus 46 basis points for the second quarter of the fiscal year versus its benchmark return of minus 4 basis points, and the insurance composite returned minus 41 basis points compared to its benchmark return of 13 basis points. Fiscal year to date, the pension composite has returned 4.55%. versus benchmark return of 4.64%, and the insurance composite returned 4.51% versus the insurance composite benchmark of 4.80. As we've seen, markets rebounded sharply in January. Performance was recently produced. The pension composite produced a return of 1.88% for the month, outperforming the benchmark by 28 basis points. And the insurance composite returned 1.93%, outperforming its benchmark by 24 basis points. February and March, we've seen an uptick in volatility in markets, largely driven by uncertainty regarding policy and concerns about economic growth. Risks remain high and seemingly asymmetric as markets react to these policy shifts in economic data, underscoring the reality of the seemingly new macro environment we see with a wider range of possible outcomes and persistently high volatility. For the quarter, the largest contributor to outperformance was relative performance in the specialty credit portfolio, as managers produced positive excess performance across the board, while relative underperformance in public equity portfolio, as well as the underperformance of the private equity portfolio versus its public markets benchmark, again, the Russell 3000 plus 3% lagged a quarter, were the largest drivers of underperformance during the quarter. The private equity portfolio specifically has underperformed that public market benchmark by 613 basis points during the quarter, which accounted for about between 75 and 150 basis points, or 150% of the total underperformance of the portfolios. From a peer perspective, the portfolios have continued to perform well. All are producing top quartile or top decile risk-adjusted performance over 3 and 5 year time periods. We were also very excited to have Carrie Bass present the first iteration of the new and much improved investment compliance report. We noted that Carrie has done a tremendous amount of work in her new role and already has a number of ideas about ways to further enhance compliance reporting and increase transparencies to the committees and boards. And she was happy to report as of the end of the quarter, there were no compliance violations to report. That's what I had for my report, so happy to take any questions.
Congratulations on not having any issues with compliance.
Thank you. That's always a good state to be in.
Yes, it is. And it's been a long road to get it because the fluctuation in the market's been made it tough sometimes. So congratulations
Thank
to
you
you
very
and your
much.
staff.
Appreciate it.
Any other questions for comments from Mr. Wild? All right. One thing I want to point out to anybody who's watching on Facebook or watching a recording of it later, the KPPA is the administrative arm, and so we don't have to take any action upon the investments because they actually belong to the C&K Trust. So this touches, that's a little information in case you was wondering why there would be a vote. All right, sir. Mr. Bullard, next on your agenda there.
I will turn that over to Ryan.
Yes, thank you very much. Sherry, thank you. She has the memo pulled up from Steve and I. While we don't have to take action on the investment side, there is a personnel issue that we wanted to present today. This is kind of in addition to the December 6, 2023. As you recall, there were 6 positions that were approved by KPPA, position descriptions that were approved by KPPA. Our ask today is to expand that by 1. There may be additional in the future, kind of along the same logic. A more senior investment associate, so it would be slightly junior to the existing 6, not entry level, but at the senior associate level. The reasons for that are described in the memo, but just quickly, to increase diversification across the experience levels is one thing that we identified we wanted to focus on. And then we think this position directly will attract some emerging talent and then provide a career pathway within investments. And really, that's just to build a sufficient bench to continue operations in the Office of Financial Management. And just to be clear, it doesn't expand the total personnel within the office. It's still limited to 6, but this would give an additional tool in the toolbox for a new individual to come in and again achieve those goals that we have. And we do anticipate maybe in the future an additional ask for maybe an entry level or a couple of years post education. But at this time, we're prepared to ask for this. We have both the full position description in there as well as the memo. There was an issue on the salary scale, so I'll just highlight the senior investment. So this will add to the existing structure a low and a high range of 160,000 to 220,000, again, to attract that individual, and then hopefully they can progress up within the office. So I'm happy to take any questions. Steve is as well. But we worked on this, and we do request approval, but also can provide additional information as needed.
Yeah, and this is part of the statutory approved 6 positions that are exempt from 18A, and currently we have all of those as the CIO, the deputy CIO, and the 4 portfolio managers. So this just increases our flexibility to hire someone, and it's required to have both a position description and compensation range approved by the KPPA board.
Ms. Hampton, you have your hand up. You're
muted.
muted.
Okay, I'm pretty sure I understand this, but we're talking about a person that does have some experience coming in, and we're also competing against other people in this particular field but a combination of the fiduciary responsibility and the knowledge of investments has, I don't want to say driven, requires us to have the starting salaries a little bit higher and the top salaries a little bit higher. Am I correct in that, Ryan?
Yeah, I think this would be consistent kind of with the legislative changes related to the 6 individuals. They're non-18A, so there's additional flexibility. And then this would kind of add a position below the existing staff. You know, it's not at the level that an individual would come in and manage a portfolio. It would require additional supervision that would hopefully grow into that position. So again, a senior investment associate, it's kind of a new concept here, but we think it's worthwhile as well, like I said, in the future to maybe even add a position lower. But at this time, we're just asking for that senior investment associate with the range that I was talking about that will gain the experience and hopefully move into those higher level positions that have already been approved in 2023.
Yeah, and Lynn, specifically to your question, yes. So we've been actively engaging in a search to fill some of the open positions. And as Ryan mentioned, ultimately, as we've talked about our staffing, we anticipate kind of going from intern, right, having a number of interns, and then what I would call junior analyst, and then senior analyst, which is this position, up to portfolio manager. So that's kind of the breadth of the investment staff as I envision it. And as we've gone out and talked to what we view as qualified or individuals that they're interested in potentially recruiting and hiring, I think the compensation range discussed for this position is kind of where the market is.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Steve.
Mr. Piercy has his hand up.
Just for clarification, I see where the ranges have increased. For instance, for CIO about 60,000 and somewhere around 50 for the others. Is the thought that you're going to immediately raise the existing employees up to that, or is that just where they're going to max out as they get cost of living adjustments through the years?
Well, actually, thank you for pointing that out. Mr. Amara, thank you for your due diligence as well. There was an errant page that got put in there. So it's corrected on the screen in the book that you're viewing, but there was an issue with the page. So that has been removed from the board packet. This was kind of a late ad because we do have some individual opportunities in the space. It was a late ad. There was an errant page in there. So those that you're looking at maybe in a prior version or it wasn't corrected in your version is not accurate. We are just focusing on the senior investment associate today. There is no change being requested of any of the salary ranges in the CIO, deputy CIO, et cetera, existing positions. There's no change requested for that.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that. Sherry, do you have an updated page? Because I apparently do not.
Well, just for the presentation, as you can tell, we just removed that from the packet.
Okay.
That material after the meeting will also be removed from your board book so that it won't be referenced in your board book.
Okay, so the high range for all these positions are going to stay the same, and the salaries for the current employees will only adjust as they get cost of living adjustments. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, we apologize. You know, we're reacting to kind of some opportunities in the space. And again, there was at the 12th hour, there was some issues. It was caught thanks to Mr. O'Mara, and it was removed, and it will be immediately fixed upon adjournment.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks. Mr. Cheatham, you have your hand up. You're next.
Couple of questions. Can we get an updated sheet with those salary ranges when you get them updated, please?
Yes, we will distribute the updated sheet if it is approved. Yes, sir.
Second question, a little clarification. Did I catch this senior investment, whatever position, your intention is to grow them into a senior management employee, or does that mean we're not looking for that senior management person now?
No, there is. Steve, do you want to speak to the other open personnel position?
Sure. We're we're in the process of interviewing both for this position as well as for one of the portfolio manager positions. So I think Ryan was talking more about, establishing positions that kind of have a pathway. So again, going from intern to junior analyst to senior analyst to portfolio manager. So this position is kind of a new position. The senior investment analyst or associate, whichever we call it, is kind of a new position, and it creates the structure of the hierarchy and pathway for career progression.
We are still actively interviewing for the more senior positions, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Just make sure.
Good discussion there. Anybody else have anything?
Just to be clear, so Ryan, if this position is approved by this board, are there other procedures we have to go through to add this position? Or is it within your...
So there would be other procedures, but that would be more in the HR area and state, just normal procurement stuff. For KPPA, as long as the position is granted, then we would be able to proceed with the hiring and then go through the more personnel side post. Yes, sir.
All right, just making a quick notation there on my motion. Is there anything else anybody wish to add? Okay, hearing nothing, I will entertain a motion to approve the KPPA petition in the Secretary of Personnel Cabinet to create a new unclassified position of Senior Investment Associate in the Office of Investments.
So moved.
I have a first and a second. Any discussion?
Jerry, just by way of discussion, do we need to denote that this is approved in the salary range of 160 to 220?
Well, since that was removed, I thought it wouldn't be in the shouldn't be in the motion either.
Well, to be specific on this position, we are just focusing on this position, and I am requesting that salary range if possible.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it was the other positions that were removed for adjustment.
Yeah.
Oh, okay then. All right. Let me change that to the entertain motion to approve the KPPA petition of the Secretary of Personnel to create a new unclassified position of Senior Investment Associate in the Office of Investment and to approve the salary range as presented.
So moved.
Have a first?
Second.
Have a second? Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Do we have anything else there for investments?
Yes, sir.
That's it for investments.
All right, next on the agenda is the BNY Mellon presentation. Rosario Pucci.
Yep.
Hope I didn't slaughter that too bad.
No, you did a great job. Thank you. Thank you for having us today. Pass it off to Declan Denahan to get us started.
Yes, good morning. My name is Declan Denahan, and I'm responsible for the public fund business at BNY. First of all, I'd like to thank the board for the opportunity to provide a quick update on BNY. We've enjoyed a multi-decade relationship with Kentucky. It's been a privilege to service you, help protect your assets, but we realize that it's a trust-based business, and we also realize that we have to re-earn your trust every single day. So as Rosario and I spoke about the points we would make this morning, there were 3 points that we thought would be helpful to bring forward to the board. First of all, you are with a strong, stable, conservative, and resilient counterparty. We think that's essential given the business that we support for you. Secondly, we are investing heavily in the business to make sure that we can continue to support your growth. And thirdly, we are absolutely committed to the public fund business. So I want to unpack each of those 3 things very, very briefly. BNY, as a participant in the financial markets, is playing a more and more central role in global capital markets. We currently custodize and administer over $52 trillion in assets on behalf of clients globally, including a significant number of public funds. In addition to this, we are servicing over $14 trillion in debt. We are servicing over $5.6 trillion on our collateral management platforms. Every single day, we're settling over $15 trillion of securities on behalf of institutional owners like yourself. We actually manage actively over $2 trillion in assets. And on any given day, we're settling over $2.5 trillion in cash. Supporting all of this is a very strong, stable, conservative balance sheet. A couple of key ratios: our core equity, our Tier 1 equity ratio is 5.6%. Our core equity Tier 1 is 11.3%. From core equity Tier 1, that's where capital is taken in the event of a stressful period, comes first. Our liquidity ratio, and liquidity ratio is the necessary high-quality liquid assets to support 30 days of normal outflows. We have our liquidity ratio is 115%. And our credit rating is AA. We are the strongest rated of any of the major US banks. So foundational to the trust you place in us is having this very strong, conservative, and resilient base. On top of that, there are essentially 2 things that support everything we do for Kentucky, and they are our people and our technology. So I'd like to share a little bit about how we're investing in both our people and our technology. On the people side, pre-COVID, if I go back a few years ago, we had about 48,400 people. Right now, we're a little over 53,000 people. So we're investing heavily in people, and we're investing both at the top of the stack in senior management, as well as making sure that we are bringing in a strong new cadre of professionals to support this business. It's interesting that in the last couple of years, we've spent quite a bit of time and effort sharing the work we're doing to support the work folks like you are doing, which in turn supports the retirement security of millions of people. And that message has really resonated. Last year, we hired 3,500 people into our intern and analyst class, and we had over 150,000 applications. So it's interesting that we have become actually a talent magnet for people who understand the mission that boards like yourselves are supporting. And I think that combination, having tenured staff, as well as having a strong influx of new people coming into the organization makes us more resilient to be able to serve you in the future. On the technology side, we're spending over $3.8 billion a year now on technology. And as you'd imagine, a lot of that is focused on things that matter to clients like yourselves. It's resiliency, it's fraud prevention, it's cybersecurity, and we spend a lot on that. And I would invite each of you, if you are in New York, to visit our Cyber Technology Operations Center. It's a pretty impressive center. While we're also using that to drive digitization of our business, we're investing in things that our clients need or things that will drive a better experience for our clients. That includes artificial intelligence, which we've leaned into quite heavily to allow our staff to do their jobs better, to allow us to predict outcomes on behalf of our clients, and to serve our clients better. The third part that I wanted to touch on, again, I'm being respectful of the time allotted because I could go on for a long time, is our commitment to the public fund business. The asset owner business, which is in the United States, which is where the public fund segment sits, we've got about 800 clients in the United States, representing roughly $5.5 trillion in assets. The public segment that I'm responsible for is the most important of those. We've got about 270, 280 clients, representing about $2.7 trillion. It's a growing business for us. It's a core business for us, and it's a business that is important to our executive management, and it is a business that we are going to continue to invest to support the needs of boards like the Kentucky Public Pensions Authority. So again, they were the 3 points I wanted to make. I'll turn it back over to Rosario, although I'm happy to take any questions as well.
Thanks, Declan. I'm going to walk through just some of the products and services that we provide to KPPA and just a high-level overview. So Declan mentioned the core of BNY is our custody business, and the services we provide there: asset safety, resiliency, market access, trade settlement, and processing. We also provide added-on services, and that's the direct-to-expert model, digital and data platforms, in addition to new products to keep up with the ever-evolving financial landscape. On top of that, we also are the accounting book of record for KPPA's $28 billion of AUC. We provide a unitization platform which reflects the pool's ownership of the underlying investment trust. And the benefits of this are pooling the assets at the strategy level, reduced number of accounts, reduced number of trading activity, and consolidating the reports. Additionally, we also have a limited partnership accounting administrative services. We offer a full spectrum of these services for the ever-growing and changing needs of private equity. This allows BNY to calculate the monthly cash flow and net asset values for the KPPA's more than 190 private equity accounts. And lastly, we offer Global Risk Solutions. This is a comprehensive performance measurement service that enables KPPA to evaluate the effectiveness of their investment strategies. This includes audited performance data for 82 public accounts and 190 private accounts. The main objective here is to provide KPPA with the insights that they need to make informed decisions, mitigate risks, and enhance the investment portfolio. With $12.7 trillion in assets under management, our company stands as the leader in the field of investment analysis. I'll pause there to see if there's any questions on any of the services. And if not, I'll pass it off to my colleague, Madison McNally, to discuss the securities financing business.
Great, thank you, Rosario. We could just flip to page 253 in the board pack, please. So I'm Madison McNally. I sit within our financing and liquidity business here at BNY and working closely with the global team covering KPPA's relationship. Today I'm here to provide an update on the KPPA securities lending program. So as a capital markets platform company, our financing and liquidity business is focused on providing tools to our clients to source and deploy liquidity across their business. And our securities finance business at its core enables our clients to utilize the long assets in their portfolio to generate incremental revenue based on the intrinsic value of those assets and/or client collateral guidelines. Said differently, an individual investor might choose to invest their cash in the market to generate additional alpha, just as someone might choose to rent out their vacation home during a certain period of time to cover additional expenses. The decision to lend can be unique to each individual institution. However, we typically see clients using securities lending as a way to either generate alpha or offset those expenses. As Declan mentioned prior, BNY touches about 1/5 of the world's investable assets with 52 trillion, north of 52 trillion in assets under custody. And we often see our existing custody clients also engaging on the BNY platform to use securities lending. And KPPA is an example of this with our relationship in securities lending dating over a couple decades. So we actively work with KPPA to understand and customize their guidelines with their and your investment objectives in mind. Guidelines can evolve over time, just as the market does. And off the back of any market developments or changing risk profile, we work with KPPA to change those guidelines. This includes review and approved borrowers and counterparties, your cash reinvestment guidelines, and any risk parameters that you're looking to change. If we move on to the following slide, with the industry largest program, with 5.4 trillion in lendable assets and over $500 billion of these assets on loan, transparency, safety, and stability are our top priorities. We manage KPPA's program to your guidelines, indemnifying both your non-cash collateral and your repurchase transactions. We view resiliency as an essential commercial attribute, and our focus on continuous automation of our infrastructure allows our clients to optimize their portfolio while adhering to their unique risk tolerance and regulatory environment. So we continually assess, test, and monitor active risks in the market with our heavy investment in technology, and we have real market examples of how our resiliency initiatives are battle tested. In January 2024, a key electronic trading venue for securities lending transactions went offline. This outage tested the market's ability to be able to execute automated trades outside of that platform. BNY's ongoing investment in technology allowed us to continue trading in an efficient and highly automated manner, which enabled us to capture market share on behalf of our clients. Whilst that trading venue has since come back online, we have continued to see interest from the borrower community in ensuring that they have the same ability to trade in an automated manner with BNY that they will have with all market participants who utilize the venue. I'll wrap up there. Thank you for your time today, and I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any. Right. Anything else, Rosario?
No, if no questions, we just want to say thank you for the time. Thank you for the business. We appreciate the longstanding partnership and you having us here today to be able to present.
I'm having trouble unmuting my microphone today. Thank you. Appreciate the presentation. And next on the agenda is the KPPA Executive Director's Report. Mr. Bauer.
Yes, thank you very much. Happy to start off with legislation. We're obviously in the middle of session during the veto period. There will be 2 additional days late next week. Thursday, sine die is on Friday. The 2 bills that we have had a lot of meetings with and have asked for, House Bill 30 and House Bill 71, are both in really good positions. House Bill 30, while it has had a title amendment, I'll still refer to it as the pension spiking bill. That has made its way through both houses and is on the governor's desk for signage or other procedures that would be available to the governor. So it's in a really good position. House Bill 71, as expected, it hopefully will be, it's in the process as expected, but hopefully will be voted on in those 2 remaining days. That is the reorg bill. And it's not anticipated to have any veto, et cetera, because that already has been approved by the governor's office as well as personnel. It's got 2 readings, so it would just need 1 additional reading and a vote to make its way to the governor's office. So good position on both of those bills. Wanted to mention that the SAFR is available as of the date of this letter. It went to the printer, but we do have printed copies, which you all will receive. If you need additional copies, obviously we will coordinate that and can either mail those out or you can grab them in a future meeting. I do, as I've said many times, I think that's a very good report, high-level summary that we do produce. I think it's one of the most widely distributed reports that we do produce. And again, printed copies, and it's on the web page as well. Wanted to briefly talk about the strategic plan. I think the next meeting may be more important. We're going to go into more of in depth on that process. And I kind of view strategic plan as here, not like traditional strategic plans where you sit around and you think about what you're going to do in the future. There is components of that being implemented. There's success already on the strategic plan, and we very much look forward to addressing those in the next meeting in a more robust discussion. But it is moving along, again, as I said, with some success already. Wanted to briefly touch on the Louisville office. It's been a long process working with facilities. We had received the best and final back from facilities and have responded quickly back to the Secretary of Finance and Administration's office, which ultimately that decision resides on the 3 properties that we received bids. We gave our recommendation and logic behind it and just awaiting the Secretary's action on that space. Following that action, there will be a build out that's related to the floor space, etc., that Rebecca has worked on, Steve has worked on a lot, and how we do that build out. So there will be a construction phase and then hopefully occupancy thereafter. Wanted to talk about item 5, staffing and leadership training. I think it's exceedingly important as we just talk about succession planning and investments. We have additional succession planning going on throughout KPPA with that leadership training. There is a component of mentoring, and I wanted to mention a kudos to HR department that was able to integrate kind of the test leadership training that was done originally in one group within KPPA, as that has been expanded to a larger group, and also adding in mentoring, which I think is a key component. I've seen that work well in other areas of government and city government that I've been in, and this is the first implementation here, and HR reacted that very well, along with expanding that leadership training, again, focusing on succession. Moving to the next item, you'll hear more about this in the future. The personnel cabinet study has touched us and affected us in numerous ways. I highlighted here on the IT side, there's been changes related to the personnel cabinet, the consultants they have. It was really started by legislative action, and there's been numerous changes. It doesn't change headcount or staffing, but it has a direct impact on job classifications, reclasses, and additional locality premiums and special entrance rates. So some of the salary adjustments that are being made for various position descriptions, again, are personnel driven. Some are permanent, and then there are kind of a new concept for state government. Some are temporary, particularly around the locality premiums. So there'll be a more robust discussion of how that affects the budget, how that affects the personnel line item. But the way we wanted to do is just kind of give a preview. We've had a couple of rounds. We're expecting the next round here shortly. And once that's complete, we'll have a more clear picture of what it does to the personnel cost in our agency. Wanted to list out some of the conferences and representation that KPPA was able to send our experts to go meet with other experts, get that information. And one of the things that I personally find very important, and Mike and I had a lunch and learn on bringing that information back. It's not going to come in the form of a lunch and learn for every single one. It will be information specific, but if we spend the resources and the time and energy to go and meet with those experts, we want to bring that back and disseminate it. I think our lunch and learn went really well within the organization, and we're going to explore various kind of formats, structures to bring that back and get it to the right people within the organization so that we really do focus on best practices and maximize that return on the time and energy of those attending those and representing KPPA as an organization. Want to conclude with a new section. I hope to do this in the future, in future meetings, and really kind of highlight the uniqueness, first time, or completion of a major project throughout the agency. So I want to give some KPPA kudos to various groups. Several board members have reached out. Obviously, I was aware of this, and I thought we achieved some good milestones on the legal. While there's additional work to be done, there were some stagnated legal cases that I think the legal group have worked really hard on, particularly Michael and his team worked really hard on getting some of those settlements out there. Again, not minimizing the future steps that we have to go through to achieve success, but I think it's worth mentioning and giving a kudos to. Wanted to move on to HR. We talked about the KECC campaign. I think that's great for two reasons. Obviously, the causes the KECC funds, I think, are worthwhile. The state government has obviously recognized those and put them into the program. So that is a beneficial. But I think really here in the agency, just the team building, we have members telecommuting, we have hybrids, we have here days that everybody can come in for a function, see each other, sit around a table. There's a lot of having a meal around here, but all of that I think is really strong related to team building. HR kind of led the way, but that really touched every group within the agency, with many of them hosting complicated events. I've enjoyed many myself, so kudos to them. As I mentioned, the staffers are here, but I think moving back to the separation of the ACFRs that then translates into the summary staffer there's a lot of people that touched that document, and again, I think it's a really good product, and we're happy to send those out here shortly. The staffing and boards, another thing that I think was first of its kind was the IT side, the Sherry side, being able to set up and continue board meetings. It's kind of a first time ever that we've been able to do that fully remote. I think it was very successful. Appreciate any feedback any members have on this, but I believe the public that we're broadcasting to, maybe didn't even know, but there was a lot of work that was done behind the scenes to make sure that went off effectively, and we didn't just have to cancel meetings, and we're able to be respectful of your time as you plan it out and not have to reschedule. And then I think it goes without saying, board members do a lot and give a lot of time, so I really wanted to also give a kudos as I close to Mr. Powell. I think there's been a lot of time. I mean, his tenure goes back to 2017, along with Ms. Pendergrass on the seaside, various committees, lots of work before meetings, during, and after, and wanted to give a kudos there. So really appreciate the time, appreciate you letting me go through some of these items, particularly the kudos, and look forward to giving those in the future.
I'm sorry, Mr. You're muted again.
Brian.
Thanks for the reminder. Thanks for your input. I want to just echo my sentiments to all the staff members and the work they do. There are no better state employees than those employed by the KPPA, in my opinion. They are top of the line, motivated and driven. So I just want to echo your same thoughts with that.
Thank you, sir.
Anything else you wish to add?
No.
Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda is new business. Do we have any new business anybody wants to bring forward? I have one thing I want to just go back a little bit, back to where we were talking about the approval of the senior investment person. And what was presented, the salaries were removed, and we did, for the transparency, I think we should include the senior investment associate's salary in that when it's published on the internet on our webpage.
Yes, sir.
And that's all I have on that. Mr. Board, do we need a closed session to update
Just briefly.
Okay, sir.
Be as brief as we can.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, I will entertain a motion. We go into closed session for the purpose to discuss impending litigation.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. O'Mara. Who was second? I missed that. Mr. Cheatham, thank you, sir. All right, motion been, any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank our representatives of BYN Mellon as they're leaving the room. Appreciate y'all being here. Motion had been made in open session to move into closed session for a specific purpose, and such motion has been carried by a majority vote in open public session. The board shall now enter closed session to consider litigation matters pursuant to KRS 61.181, subsection 1, subsection C. Closed session necessary because of the necessity of protecting the confidentiality of KPPA's litigation strategy and preserving any attorney-client privilege. Mr. Case, let us know when we're clear.